Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the first episode of Sudan In Focus, weekly news magazine, which focuses on Sudan news and events, aiming to give Sudan TV audience a broad and first-hand information about what is going on.
The Guardian view on Sudan's third year of conflict, a war against civilians. As Sudan enters its third year of civil war, the situation remains dire, marked by a recent massacre in Darfur displacement camps. It has escalated into a conflict, causing tens of thousands of deaths, widespread sexual and ethnic violence, and the largest humanitarian crisis ever recorded, with 640,000 facing catastrophic hunger. Despite Sudan Armed Forces' recapture of Khartoum, the Rapid Support Forces (RSF) has declared a parallel government. There are concerns about growing ethnic divisions. The conflict has destabilized the region, straining neighboring Chad with refugees and disturbing South Sudan's oil exports. Despite the mounting atrocities, Sudan remains largely ignored with insufficient international humanitarian support. Sudanese civilians are actively working to aid each other amid this crisis. The French France 24 published a series, 3 parts out of 5, about one European units in Sudan, Bulgarian mortar shells in Darfur's desert. France 24 observers uncovered European-made Bulgarian mortar shells in Darfur, Sudan, despite the EU arms embargo. Videos from November 2024 showed Sudanese joint forces examining seized ammunition and passports of Colombian nationals, suggesting a weapons smuggling operation. The mortar shells were identified as 81mm high explosive rounds manufactured by the Bulgarian company Donarit in 2019, evidenced by Cyrillic lapels and a production code matching Donarit's products. Bulgaria has strongly rejected claims these weapons were sent directly from Bulgaria to Sudan. The Inter-Ministerial Commission on Exports Control, the Bulgarian authority that approves arms exportations, said by email that the weapons were sold with suitable authorization to a government of a country on which no sanctions are imposed. They denied categorically that the relevant Bulgarian authorities delivered export permits to Sudan for these ammunitions. As France 24 continued their investigations, they did indeed establish that Donarit mortar shells were not exported directly to Sudan. They were, however, sold to the International Golden Group, an Emirati company known for transferring weapons to zones under international embargo. European weapons in Sudan, Part 2, a €50 million Emirati contract. France 24 observers revealed that Bulgarian-made mortar shells produced by EU member Donarit ended up in Darfur, Sudan, despite an EU arms embargo. Videos from November 2024 showed Sudanese joint forces fighters examining seized weapons, including 81mm mortar shells. Investigations traced the ammunition back to Bulgaria through lapels with Cyrillic names and a BG ISPM 15 code. Donarit confirmed manufacturing similar shells but claimed their export followed regulations, denying direct shipment to Sudan. However, the weapons were sold to the Emirati International Golden Group, known for supplying embargoed regions, unlikely transited through Libya to reach the Rapid Support Forces. This suggests a violation of the EU embargo. An arms sale of €50 million would be a big deal for Bulgaria. According to data collected by the European Network Against Arms Trade, Bulgarian exports to the United Arab Emirates was valued at between 10 to 30 million euro annually from 2015 to 2020. International Golden Group was mentioned all the way back in a 2013 report by the UN panel of experts on Libya. The report stated that the company represented the armed forces of the United Arab Emirates in the purchase of Albanian cartridges, which were actually then illegally re-exported to Benghazi in eastern Libya. Part 3. European weapons in Sudan, the mercenaries who traveled through Libya. France 24 observers investigated how European-made ammunition reached Sudanese militias despite an EU embargo, following the capture of weapons convoy in November 2024. Videos revealed passports of two Colombian nationals. Tracking one, Christian L., on social media showed his journey from Colombia through the United Arab Emirates and Libya, suggesting he was a mercenary. The investigation connects Bulgarian-made mortar shells shipped by the Emirati International Golden Group to this convoy. Evidence suggests numerous former Colombian soldiers were recruited by A4SI, a Colombian company, and contracted by the Emirati Global Security Service Group to support the Rapid Support Forces (RSF). These mercenaries likely traveled through Libya, controlled by General Haftar, an RSF ally, who uses smuggling routes and the Subul Salam bridge to supply the RSF with weapons. British investigative media outlet Bellingcat managed to geolocate the last video Christian posted. It was filmed in Libya near the town of Al-Jouf, the last Libyan town on the road to the Sudanese border, making it likely that Christian filmed this video while on the road towards the border between Libya and Sudan. 3 days after this video was posted, his papers would be in the hands of fighters belonging to the joint forces. Christian was part of an arms convoy transporting Bulgarian-made weapons to Rapid Support Forces, according to these fighters. Colombian news organizations like investigative media outlet La Silva Vacia reported that more than 300 of them were recruited and deployed to provide support to Rapid Support Forces in Sudan, traveling first to the United Arab Emirates and then to Benghazi in eastern Libya, a region controlled by General Haftar and allied to the United Arab Emirates. According to sources who spoke to La Silva Vacia, the aim of the operation was to bring a total of 1,800 Colombian mercenaries to Sudan to carry out dangerous combat missions. La Silva Vacia also reported that the former Colombian soldiers were recruited by A4SI, a Colombian company run by a former Colombian soldier who now lives in Dubai and is accused of having links to Colombian cartels. After being recruited by A4SI, the former soldiers then signed a second contract with the Emirati company Global Security Service Group. But how were the mortar bombs going to be used in Sudan? By gathering eyewitnesses, accounts, and videos filmed by both armed fighters and civilians in this combat zone, the France 24 observers team was able to show the devastating impact of this type of mission on the Sudanese population. Investigation also shows that some Bulgarian-made mortar bombs did indeed reach the Sudanese battlefield.
was transferred and which were not far from the Kuru area. And the most prominent pyramids discovered there are Taharga and Aspelta. There is a group of pyramids such as Berkal and Norsan, which include a gilded pyramid for Queen Amni Shikhto. The Kushite pyramids were advanced in terms of construction, then to a pyramid in symmetry. After that, Bural moved to Jabal Barkal, then to the southern Pajarawiya, then to the north Pajarawiya in Marawi. And the map of the Kushite Meroitic civilization sites include Marawi, Karnub, Mayu Mountain, Second Waterfall, Karma, Parka, Nuri, and researchers have confirmed that there are significant differences in archaeological sites, but modern excavation and evidence have proven that Nafta was the religious center, while the political center and weight of this civilization was for Marawi during the 2nd to 4th century AD. Kush is derived from the Meroitic civilization, and there is also the Karma kingdom, which is the first Kushite civilization that preceded the Meroitic civilization period, and is considered one of the greatest civilizations in the African continent, because it was based on mud construction, which was rare at that time. And this civilization flourished remarkably in the waterfall area, and the most prominent monuments that were discovered in that area were represented by the fortified fortresses, houses, and tombs, because it was considered a mount of cultural and commercial trade between Marawi and other countries that cooperated with it in terms of trade, as for the shape of the graves and the method of burial in the kingdom of Karma. It was done in a longitudinal manner by placing the dead person in the squatting position, in addition to the offerings that were placed with him in the grave, according to what the excavation showed during the burial, as their servants were buried with them while they were alive, in addition to placing pottery, food, drinks, and cow heads.
The city of Ad-Damir. He grew up in well-known house of religion, the houses of Al-Makzoub, with the Sufi Shazali style famous for science and literature, so that the city of Al-Majazib and religion had a great impact on his life. His father was an education and memorized the Quran and the work as teacher in the city of Kassala, and he was familiar with Tajweed. At-Tayyib Abdullah mentioned that his father was very loving him and very keen on his education. His father told him before his death that he was going to Europe. And his mother Aisha Jalaluddin was a middle education culture, and grandmother was very eloquent. He received his early education, and Al-Khalwa is a traditional Quranic school in which the Sheikh is interested with discipline, education, and caring for children, and the Tayyib says about it was part of the entity of society. His father died at a young age, and he needed help with his education, and attending free school was only done with breeding, which distinguished marks. So he was expressing his gratitude for mass marks as it attached to free education. His brother and his mother died, and he took care of his sister, so that he did not even marry their husband, and one of his two sisters died in youth in 1947. After his parents died, his uncle said he had to drop out of school and go to work in the market and trade to support himself and his family, but his grandmother refused because she believed Abdullah was and he had a future in education. He began his education at Footnote Village School, so he learned alphabets at the early age, learned to read before mastering alphabets, and he says he supported that way, that is method of solitude. This method in the sand and then write on the tablet problem, write. And they began to memorize the Al-Fatiha to grow the blessing, and then to short surahs until they memorize the Quran in the early years of book. He studied a number of famous poems in Arabic literature, such as the poem Al-Zainabiyya in Salih Abdul Qaddus, and their education at the stage was advanced. Abdullah al-Tayyib started formal education in various schools distributed in Sudanese cities such as the city of Kathala and city of Berber and his hometown of Al-Damir. He used to read in his father's library heritage book, including the book of Al-Bayan and At-Tabin and Al-Jahiz, the complete book of Al-Mubrad and the story of 1001 Nights, and those reading were shaped is the first culture. In his early years, his teacher, Al-Hadi Abu Bakr, knew him on Taha Hussein, but his interest did not turn to Arabic language without the rest of science until stage. After completing his formal education in middle school in the city of Berber, he and his comrades were waiting for the result of their admission to Codin Memorial College in Khartoum, the Faculty of Arts now. So he informed him of his admission free of charge and graduated from it in 1942. He received his doctorate from the School of Oriental and African Study at University of London in 1950, making him the third Sudanese to receive a doctor after Mekki Shibeka and Sheikh Al-Rayah Al-Aidaros. Abdullah Tayyib worked in education study in middle school and in the School of Microcommerce. He studied at Codin Memorial College, where he studied from 1943 until 1945, which was then transformed into Khartoum University College and later became University of Khartoum. He married in Britain in 1948 to an English woman, and because she is from the colonial country, Abdullah attacked the English in front of her at their first meeting on the number of colonial crimes, and she admitted he insisted and she came with him to Sudan 1950. He lectured at the School of Oriental and African Study in London in 1950. He was appointed professor in the Department Arabic Language at the University of Khartoum and Dean of his Faculty of Arts from 1961 to 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Economic News. President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has met with head of Libyan Government of National Unity, Abdel Hamid Mohammed al-Dubeiba, on the sidelines of his participation in the Antalya Diplomatic Forum 2025, hosted by the Turkish city of Antalya. During the meeting, they reviewed bilateral relations between the two countries and ways to develop and strengthening them in various fields. They also touch on developments in Sudan and key issues of mutual interest. The meeting emphasized the importance of political positions on several regional matters and supporting efforts to achieve security, stability, and peace in Sudan. The meeting was attended by Sudan's ambassador to Turkey, Nader Yusuf, Director of the General Intelligence Service, General Ahmed Ibrahim Mufaddal, and Director of Defense Industries Organization, General Marghani Idris. President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, met with His Excellency President Julius Maada, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, on the sidelines of his participation in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, which was held last week in the Turkish city of Antalya. The meeting addressed the course of bilateral relations between the two countries, ways to support and develop them in various fields, and advance cooperation between the two countries to widen horizons to serve their joint interests. They also discussed a number of regional and international issues of mutual interest. The two presidents affirmed their commitment to advancing relations to achieve the aspiration of the people of the two countries, support the path of joint cooperation, and strengthening bilateral relations. The meeting was attended by Ambassador Dr. Ali Yusuf, General Ahmed Ibrahim Mufaddal, Director of the General Intelligence Service, Ambassador Nader Yusuf, Sudan's Ambassador to Turkey, and General Marghani Idris, Director of the Defense Industries Organization. The meeting also addressed developments in Sudan, efforts to achieve peace, reconstruction, and development, and deliberated on key regional and international developments and issues of mutual interest. President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, expressed his appreciation for Turkey's supportive stance toward Sudan in regional and international forums, its commitment to preserving its sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as Turkish continued support for the Sudanese people and its provision of humanitarian aid during the current crisis in Sudan. For his part, the Turkish president welcomed the visit of TSC president to his country, praising the distinguished bilateral relations between the two countries, affirming his determination to advance them to wider horizons to achieve the joint interest of the two countries, peoples, and brotherly peoples. Erdogan reiterated Turkey's commitments to continuing its support for Sudan and supporting all efforts aimed at achieving security, stability, and peace in Sudan, stressing his country's support for the Sudanese people and government in overcoming current challenges. Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Jibril Ibrahim, has met with his counterpart, Sultan bin Salim Al Habsi, on the sidelines of the annual meetings of Arab Financial Institution, which was held in Kuwait during this month. The meeting was attended by the Governor of the Central Bank of Oman, Ahmed bin Nasser Al Musallami, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Economic Planning, Dr. Muhammad Bashar, and the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Sudan, Muhammad Usman Muhammad Khair, along with a number of specialists from the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Sudan. The meeting discussed ways to strengthen economic and financial relations between the two countries. The Minister of Finance expressed his sincere thanks and appreciation to the government and people of the Sultanate of Oman for their warm welcome and hospitality, particularly for the significant support the Sultanate has been providing to Sudanese citizens residing there and facilitating their residency procedures in light of the current circumstances facing Sudan. Dr. Jibril Ibrahim affirmed Sudan's keenness to enhance economic cooperation with the Sultanate of Oman, particularly in the fields of gold exports and livestock products, to meet the needs of the Omani market. He also noted the importance of partnership in the areas of digital transformation and banking cooperation.
الوسامة الوسامة جل رسامة